lost my passport in Asia.
It was just this unspoken energy as well. Oh no. And I honestly thought I'd be stuck in Thailand. I'm leaving on a flight today, like I need it now. This shit show was happening. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another story time video. How are we? Are we well? Are we hydrated? Are we caffeinated? Because I need to be to tell this story. Obviously you can tell by the title already, I went to Thailand and I lost my passport. But it's a bit more of a story than that. And I feel like I need to give you a bit of context as well to like the madness that happened. Just before we get started, if you are new here, hello, hi, welcome. My name is Rebecca Short. How are we? I hope you're well and I hope you enjoy this story. I'm just going to give you a bit of context first before we get into the story, just so you kind of know the vibe, what was happening, what was going on, and the whole mood of the trip. So I went to Thailand summer 2017 with my three best friends, and then two of our very good friends joined us halfway through the trip. I went with Barbara, Mackenzie and Una. And a bit of context on Barbara, Mackenzie and Una, because I feel like you need to know their personalities a bit, but you don't need to know too much, like need to know basis. So Barbara is a Virgo, Mackenzie is a Sagittarius, and Una is a Leo. And I'm a Taurus. So that's the kind of vibe. We're all different personalities, all different personality types, but we have been best friends since we were born, basically. So we were traveling around Thailand. I basically planned the entire trip because I am a self-confessed travel agent. You know, we were so excited. We had been planning this for months and months and months, and we finally got to Thailand. We went to Thailand for just over 3 weeks in total, and we were island hopping. So we started off in Chiang Mai, which is up at the top of Thailand, and then we got to Phi Phi. Now this is where the story starts. If you have ever been to Thailand and you've ever been to Phi Phi on a girl's holiday, guy's holiday, friend's holiday, you know that Phi Phi is absolutely insane. We even went as far as extending our time in Phi Phi because we absolutely loved it that much. It was so much of a party, so much fun, and we just had the best time. So we were staying in the Phi Phi Princess. Me and Una were in one room, Mackenzie and Barbara were in another room. And if you've ever gone on a girl's holiday, on a guy's holiday, on a friend's holiday, you know that, and we're all Irish as well, so a big part of the holiday was alcohol, partying, buckets, and more buckets. We had finished our stay in Phi Phi after extending it, and it was the morning that we were going from Phi Phi to Koh Samui. Now, if you know Thailand, you know that Phi Phi and Phuket are on like one side of the islands, and then Koh Samui, Koh Tao, Koh Phangan are on the other side. So we were going from one side of Thailand to another in one day, severely hungover, and it was like a 12-hour trip. This trip obviously starts very early in the morning. You have to get an early ferry, and of course we were out the night before, so we had to pack our bags and pack up our entire room whilst hungover, whilst rushing for this trip. And you know, that's what we were doing. So I remember me and Una were packing up the room and someone said something about passports, and we were like, oh yeah, they're on the bed. And that is the last talk of passports that I remember. When you're traveling Thailand, when you're island hopping, you don't necessarily need your passport. The only time you need your passport is if you're going on a plane. And I know when you're going on a trip, like one of the main things you have in your mental checklist when you're like leaving a hotel room is like, okay, do I have my passport? Do I have this? Do I have that? Obviously that morning, due to me being hungover, us all being hungover, and just like generally we weren't actually about to go on a plane, I just didn't double check, did I have my passport? That I remember. So we were going on the boat, and I remember Barbara, we were in 7-Eleven getting our 7-Eleven toasties. If you've ever been to Thailand, you know. And I remember Barbara was like, Rebecca, your bag's open. Because I had this backpack, but the zip kept opening. To this day, I'm pretty sure the girls think that my passport fell out of my bag because my bag kept opening. But I'm pretty sure that my passport never even left the hotel room. Fast forward, we were doing this lovely long day of traveling. It was absolutely torture. We were on a ferry, and then we were on a bus, and the bus was the worst part. It was so busy. By the time we arrived to it, it was like basically full, so we couldn't even sit together. So I ended up sitting next to this like random man who like was obviously traveling Thailand. He had a can of Chang, right? He came on the bus with a can of Chang and I was like, oh, please don't sit next to me, please don't sit next to me, please don't sit next to me. And of course he sat next to me, it was fine. And he fell asleep on this bus and his can of Chang went like this all over my elephant pants. It was fine. So I was smelling like beer. We were traveling for ages. On this particular day that we were traveling, for some reason, it was Una's birthday. Una's the Leo. You do not want things to go wrong on a Leo's birthday ever, or on anyone's birthday, but especially not this birthday. So that was fine. We were doing our lovely day of traveling. Everything was great. And we got to Koh Samui in the end. Koh Samui was quite a big island, I'm pretty sure. And I remember we got in the back of one of these like taxi things and it was all open. And it was like the longest taxi ride. We were like, are we ever going to get to this hotel? Like, are we ever getting to this hotel? And I'm pretty sure when we arrived, we were just like, the mood was already down, and this was before we had even realized the passport was gone. So we were unpacking and stuff, and like obviously when you get to a new place you put your passports in the safe. And I was unpacking my bag and we were in the Arc Bar. And now if you've ever been to Koh Samui, I'll put a picture here of the Arc Bar. It's like a massive party hotel. You go there for a party. It's in like the heart of Koh Samui. It's a party. We got to the Arc Bar and we were like, okay, passports in the safe. We had 2 rooms, me and Una in one room, Mackenzie and Barbara in the other, and we had a connecting door in between them. I was like, oh no. Do you know when you just get that gut feeling that you're like, my passport is not here? And I don't know when the last time I saw it was. So I was like, oh dear Lord. So I was unpacking my bag, nowhere to be found, like my little backpack. Then I unpacked my suitcase, nowhere to be found. And then we were like, oh, you know, maybe it ended up in like Una's bag or Mackenzie's bag or Barbara's bag. So everyone emptied their suitcases, nothing there. And I was like, oh no. Like inside, I'm very calm, I'm very chilled. It takes a lot to stress me out. So I'm pretty sure like Barbara was like losing her mind, being the Virgo that she is. And then Mackenzie was like, they'll be fine, like half party vibes. But Mackenzie was also feeling sick at this stage. I was like, no, I'll contact Shane. So loads of our guy friends were actually in PP as well, but we had kind of different routes. And then we were meeting up again in Copenhagen, which is like the full moon place. So Shane and his friends were still there. So I was like, okay, I'll get on to Shane. So Shane went back to the hotel and he was like, hey, my friend's just left, well, like a few hours ago, and she thinks she left her passport in the room. Can I go check? Like, did you find anything? They were just like, no, we didn't find anything, it's not here. Like straight off the bat. Like not even, hold on, we'll check, hold on, we'll contact the cleaner, like nothing, just no, it's not here. In the meantime as well, I had obviously contacted the hotel. I messaged them on Facebook, email, like I was freaking out, and I was like, no, it'll be fine, they'll find it, like it'll be in the hotel, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Like Shane, the absolute angel, went to the police station as well, and just to check if it was handed in, because obviously there's a lot of people traveling in the Thailand islands, and especially during the summer. So, you know, if I ever found a passport, you'd obviously hand it into the police. So Shane was like, maybe it was handed in there and they hadn't found it. We were all in the hotel rooms, and I think Una was like on the phone to her parents or something, birthday girl, on the phone to her parents, are getting ready, and me, Barbara and Mackenzie were in the room. Now Barbara and Mackenzie had taken a turn for the worst. And when I say a turn for the worst, they just did not feel good, like in the slightest. They were so pale. They were like, oh my god, I don't feel good. And I was kind of like trying to keep my spirits high, but also like, I don't feel good because I'm in Thailand. Like what the hell do you do? You know, you always think losing a passport would be bad, but you don't really have the tools to like automatically know what to do. So I was kind of freaking out, and I remember Moana came on the TV in this hotel room in Thailand. And we all just kind of looked at each other. And you know the way when best friends, like especially because we'd known each other all our lives, like we just gave each other this look that was like, I wish we could just stay in and watch Moana and get room service. But we also all knew at the same time that like, it's Una's fucking birthday. Like there is no way we can stay in and get takeaway. Like there was like McDonald's and watch Moana. Like, that was not happening. In no sense of anything ever in any reality was that going to happen. But we were all kind of living in hope secretly that maybe Una for some reason wasn't feeling up for celebrating her birthday. We all sitting in the bed like half getting ready, half not getting ready, because none of us wanted to go anywhere. And Una arrives into the room, right? And I'll never forget, her hair was like, I don't know, was it straight or wavy, but it was definitely down. And she had like this stunning, I'm pretty sure it was a yellow dress on. And like her makeup was fab, and she was clearly like, she had the epitome of, it's my birthday, like let's party vibes. Like that was just her energy. And me, Barbara Mackenzie, and just looked at each other and like, we knew. We were like, we're gonna have to celebrate this birthday. Obviously, like, come on, let's get ready. And there was like this really nice restaurant next door on the beach that we decided we go to, because we were like, oh my god, this is stunning, it's on the beach, like the food will be amazing, like everything will be amazing. We got there and we looked at the menu, and like, this was most definitely the most expensive restaurant we had eaten in the whole holiday so far, and probably the whole holiday altogether. Looking back at it, it was so expensive. It was really fancy, like on the beach, and we have like Barbara Mackenzie dying at the table, me like mentally freaking out on the inside but trying to be like, no, I'm fine, but like freaking out, being like, no, it's grand, it'll come up, but also being like, oh my god, I'm in Thailand and I have no passport. And I remember Barbara Mackenzie literally didn't even order a drink because obviously they were dying. And then Una orders like a glass or a bottle of wine, and I was like, oh god, like I can't just order water. But I do, like, I was probably dying hungover as well, because I don't take well to drink, and we'd probably been drinking for the last like 5 nights straight. I was like, I can't order water and I can't order alcohol, so I ordered like this mocktail. The mocktail appeared in like a pineapple, like it was most extra thing, and I was like, look, it'll be fine. We were sitting at the table in this really fancy restaurant, and next thing, I think Mackenzie, I don't know how she ended up at the bottom of the table, but she was sitting at the bottom of the table like by herself on a chair, and next thing she just sticks her head under the table and starts puking. Una's next to me, it's her birthday. Barbara's at the top of the table probably freaking out inside, being like, oh my god, Rebecca's gonna be stuck in Thailand forever. I'm drinking my mocktail out of a pineapple, and Mackenzie is puking at the at the end of the table. It was the biggest mess ever. Like, and bear in mind now, we've been best friends for like our entire life, so we're very comfortable around each other. We know each other. It was just this unspoken energy as well. Like, no one had really said anything of like what's gonna happen, what's going on. Like, we all feel so shit, like it's Una's birthday. Like, nothing was spoken about. Everything was just this unspoken vibe of like, what the fuck is going on. Walking back to the hotel, so we had picked the biggest party hotel in Koh Samui, the Arc Bar, and you know that really like uns pumping dance music was playing, like blaring from the hotel. Massive pool party going on, and we just decided, we were like, we have to go back to the room. Like, it probably wasn't even mentioned. We just kind of left the restaurant and started walking back to the room, but had to walk through this massive party in our hotel to get back to our room. I remember we arrived back in the room, Mackenzie and Barbara went into their room and were like fighting over the toilet, and then we literally just went to bed, like said nothing, lights off, and this party music was just blaring, like blaring, and it was just the soundtrack to the evening. Like, it was so funny, but it was so, like, we didn't laugh about it then. We definitely laugh about it now, but at the time there was just this energy of like, we've spent the whole day traveling, the two probably have food poisoning, my passport's gone, and like no one knows how this is going to play out. Like, we have like 2 weeks, if not more, of this holiday left. Like, you know, everyone's probably thinking in their head, oh my god, this is going to ruin the holiday. Like, do we all have to go to Bangkok now? Like, how do we sort this? And then it's Una's birthday on top of it all, which is just a disaster. Like, I don't even know how it was planned that we'd be traveling on that day, but I feel like it wouldn't have been that way if we didn't extend PP, but we did. But anyway, so we woke up the next morning, and remember how I said our other 2 friends were joining? So Tina and Lal were arriving to Thailand this day. So they were obviously so excited. They had just spent hours and hours and hours traveling from like Dublin to Dubai to Bangkok. They were arriving to Koh Samui this day, this morning, the morning after. So I got up, went straight to the shop to get a SIM and was trying to contact like the boat company, the bus company. Like I was like, this passport could be anywhere. It could be the bus company could have it, the boat company could have it, like it could be in the hotel still and they're just not telling me, or they might find it, or it might be in the police station in Phi. Like I was like, where do I even start? Trying to get someone who spoke English as well, because we were in Thailand. And next thing I remember, Tina and Lal like arrived and I was the one to greet them out the front. So I'm pretty sure Barbara and Mackenzie were still in their hotel room like getting sick. I'm pretty sure Una woke up that morning, went straight to the bar and was like, I'm getting drunk. Next thing, Tina and Lal arrive and I just greeted them and they're like, oh hi, how are you? Like blah blah, like so excited. And I was like, yeah,
Barbara Mackenzie had food poisoning. My passport's gone and it was Una's birthday yesterday.
And the two girls were just like, oh my god. But I'm so happy they arrived then, because they were on such a good high and they went with Una. The two girls were still sick, I'm pretty sure. And and also the art bar was expensive. Like it was one of the more expensive destinations of our holiday, and like this shit show was happening. Like this absolute, just one thing after another just kept happening. I still hadn't told my parents and I was like trying to see the boat company, the ferry company were so helpful. He was like, took my number and my email and said he'd call around to all the cleaners and have everyone check. And obviously there's so many people getting on and off these boats. So I was like, okay. And then like still hadn't told my parents, was still trying to figure out what to do. Obviously we were in Thailand. None of us had ever lost our passport before and none of us kind of knew what to do, where to go, who to contact. That was fine. And next thing I remember, I was just like, I'm pretty sure Barbara had told her mom, and Barbara was kind of like, do you not think maybe you should tell your parents? Because Barbara's mom, my mom are sisters. I was like, okay, well. So I called my dad in Ireland. I'm in Thailand. And you know when you call your parents and you have something bad to tell them, but you kind of, I wanted to tell my dad first. I did not want to tell my mom. She would freak out. Like I knew she'd freak out. Not freak out like giving out, but like freak out panicking and probably like book a flight to Thailand and think she could save the day kind of thing. Didn't want my mom to know until we had like a solution of what was going to happen with this whole situation. I remember I called my dad and I was like, hey dad, blah blah blah. I was like, are you with mom? I was like, don't say anything now, don't say anything, are you with mom? And my dad is like the least subtle person in the world. And he was like, yeah, she's right beside me, why? And I was just like, can you just like leave the room, please? Yeah, I'll go outside now. What's wrong? So now my mom was obviously freaking out in the background, my dad. And I remember telling him, I was like, look, everyone is fine. Like I have enough money, like nothing bad happened, like blah, blah, blah. And then I like worked my way up to it. Do you know when you're telling your parents something bad, you kind of try to work your way into it. You kind of try and like tell them all the good things, tell them all the positive things, and then be like,
and by the way, I lost my passport in Asia. You
know? So I remember I was like, I lost my passport. Do you know what his response was? And. A-N-D question mark. He was like, and? He was like, is that it? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, so you're all fine, you're all healthy, anything got stolen, like nothing bad happened. I was like, well, my passport's gone. Bit of context on my dad is like the most positive person ever, like nothing phases him and he always like tries to see a silver lining in things. So he was like, oh yeah, that's fine, like all you did is lost your passport, like we'll sort it out. So I had waited like 3 days to tell my parents, freaking out, and I should have just called him the second it happened. So he was like, yeah, and we'll sort it out. So that was fine. So we went about, I think my dad contacted someone here he knew and like the Irish embassy, and I was contacting people in Thailand being like, what the hell do I do? Like Googling it. And the first thing that came up was the Irish embassy, that you had to go to the Irish embassy. And I was like, okay, where's the Irish embassy in Thailand? Bangkok. Where was I? Koh Samui. How did I get to Bangkok? A flight, a train, or a bus? The first place all our minds went to were like, all right, we're going, like, I was like, okay, I have to go to Bangkok. And the girl was like, you can't go to Bangkok for yourself. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not gonna ruin someone's holiday by like dragging them to Bangkok. But it turned out I actually didn't have to go to Bangkok. I just had to go to the police station in Koh Samui. We all toddled off down, moral support, all the girls came with me. And we toddled down to the police station in Koh Samui because they had to file a police report and they had to write a statement, blah, 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 blah. So got there, and I remember I was sitting in the police office, and like police stations in Thailand are so extra. They're like these big, massive, like white buildings, like all gold, and like, so I walk in and the chief is there, like the chief officer or whatever, and he like immediately starts flirting with me, like, which just made the situation so much more hilarious. And he just started laughing like when he saw me come in, because it's Thailand, like, and it's Koh Samui, like they probably see this so often, like people losing their passport. So he just started laughing and started flirting with me and like was writing loads of things. So this Thai chief of police was asking me so many questions, and then he goes, are you single? He was like, are you single? Are you here with your boyfriend? And I was just like, what is happening? Like, why are you asking me, am I single at a time like this? And of course I played along. I was like, yeah, do whatever the nice policeman says. I was like, yeah, I'm here with my friends. I'm Irish, haha, love me. And he just signed the thing and gave me the piece of paper. He was like, you can fly. Like, that's all he said. And the whole piece of paper was in Thai. I was just like, I can fly home. I can fly to Bangkok. Like, where am I flying to? Like, I contacted like the Department of Foreign Affairs or whoever you contact, and they were like, you're gonna have to get that translated into English, and you're gonna have to go to the Irish embassy in Bangkok. And I was like, okay, but how do I get to Bangkok? Like, a flight to Bangkok. And he was like, that sheet of paper he gave you should allow you to fly. You just have to get that translated into English and like make sure that that's the right thing, that he said the right stuff. So again, we were in Koh Samui, like we were in the party side, like there was no official translator offices in Koh Samui. So we found these guys who were like working at this moped shop, I think it was. They spoke English, and there was someone who spoke Thai as well, and I handed them it and I was like, what does this mean? Like, does this mean, like, what am I doing? Like, what? Like, literally the policeman just said you can fly and handed me that. So they were like, yeah, this is the official police report, and it said like you should be able to get through the airport with this. Like, should is the word they used, not you will definitely, should. So I was like, okay, great, but I'm not a panicker, so I was like, yeah, it's fine. And so I was like, oh my god, do I have to go to Bangkok now? But thankfully at the end of our holiday, because remember we still had, so we were in Koh Samui, we still had Koh Phangan and Koh Tao to go before Bangkok. Like, we still had a good majority of holiday left. We planned it so that we'd leave the islands and go to Bangkok, fly to Bangkok, so then we'd have a night in Bangkok and we'd have all the next day before our flight out the next night. So we had like 24-hour window. So they were like, no, you should be able to, you know, get it translated in Bangkok, go to the embassy and get your flight, like it all should be fine. That was their time in Koh Samui done. And I was actually chatting to the girls earlier, and we were actually saying, we were like, anytime, like we were so hyped up for Koh Samui. We thought Koh Samui would be like one of the highlights of the holiday. Anytime anyone like asks us about Thailand or asks us, we're always like, just skip Koh Samui, because our experience in Koh Samui was just a hot mess. That's actually how it was, a hot mess. Like, it was one thing after another. Don't worry, when we went to Koh Phangan, we gave Una the biggest surprise. I'll put a photo here. We were staying in this amazing hotel, and I had contacted them and been like, we need to celebrate my friend's birthday, and they did this. Like, it was insane. And Una did get her birthday in the end. Don't worry, we're not bad friends. It was just bad timing, okay? We're not bad friends, it was just bad timing. But Una did get her birthday, and trust me, in Koh Phangan we celebrated. But yeah, it was very fun. I enjoyed the next 2 weeks of my holiday. We all did. We forgot about the passport was even a thing. Like, I didn't need my passport from going to the islands. I didn't need my passport for ID. I was in Thailand, I was fine. So then it came to the day that we were flying from Koh Samui to Bangkok. We got to Koh Samui airport. I had my piece of paper in hand. I think I photocopied it about 70 times. All the girls had a copy because we were like, we cannot lose this new, essentially, passport. So I had my piece of paper and I had printed out a printout of my passport because I had a picture of my passport on my phone. Very smart idea. Always do that before you go anywhere in case you lose your passport. We got to the airport and I was like, is this thing gonna even work? Like, will I get stuck in Koh Samui? Who knows? So we got to the airport, and in Thailand, in Koh Samui airport, it was very high tech when you were like going through security. So you queue up, you know, the scanny thing would scan your face, and then you go up to the glass. It was like immigration kind of, and you go up to the glass and they ask you a few questions and you get through. So I remember when I went up to the glass, your man immediately started laughing, called another man over. He started laughing and dragged me over to a corner and was just like reading the thing and like asking me questions and like stamping it. And then he just laughed again and handed me the paper back and was like, okay. So that was basically like, okay, you're getting on the flight. So I was like, okay. But it was so funny because we were all trying to get through this immigration thing, and I'm pretty sure it was either Tina or Mackenzie, but I'm pretty sure it was Mackenzie. Like, we were all going through with our passports, and next thing Mackenzie got pulled to the side for a good, I think it was Mackenzie or it was Tina, I'm not sure, but either one of them, maybe both, got pulled aside for a good like 20 minutes. And we were all on the other side like waiting for them, seeing this happen, being like, everyone was like, how did you get through with your piece of paper? Like, you literally don't have a passport. And then the girls are stuck getting questioned. Like, I don't know. So we got to Bangkok. We were all partied out at that stage. Like, no one was up for drinks. And basically the plan the next day was the Bangkok markets. So I knew the next day I had to get shit done. Like, I had to get to the embassy. I had to get, like, I had no idea where any of these places were. I just was relying on Google. So I thought it would be a really easy process. So Tina got up with me the next morning and she was like, I'll go with you. So we went first and I went to the translator place. I was of the opinion that getting a document translated in Thailand would be quite quick. They'd look at it and translate it. Like, I didn't think it would be that long of a process. And I got to the translator office first thing in the morning and they were like, okay, that'll be ready tomorrow. And I was like, no, I'm leaving on a flight today. Like, I need it now, I need it ASAP. So they were like, okay, it'll be ready in, I think they said like 4 hours or maybe an hour or 2. And they were like, and then you can come back, but that'll be an extra like 1,000 baht or whatever. It wasn't that much, but it was true. They were really, they knew I was a tourist, they knew I needed it, so they charged me like through my fucking ass for this stupid piece of paper to be translated for the embassy. Got that, went to the embassy, because the embassy was actually close to the translator place, thank God, because if you've ever been in Bangkok, you know the traffic in Bangkok is absolutely mental. So I went to the embassy, went into the building, whatever, and there was a woman behind the desk and I explained everything and I was like, blah, blah, I need my passport, and she was like, okay, that'll be ready tomorrow. I was like, no, I can't have it tomorrow. I was like, I'm flying out today. Like, is there any chance it would be ready today? Blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, okay, you have to pay this something fee because you'll have to collect it at 4 p.m. and 4 p.m. is after hours. And bear in mind now it's probably only 11 a.m. at this stage. And I was like, literally staying on the other side of the city, like so far away from the hotel we were staying at and the airport. It wasn't like anything was close at all. So I was like, can I not just wait now? And she was like, no, it won't be ready till after 4 and you'll have to come back and you'll have to pay extra fees, whatever. And I was like, okay, fine. So we went back to the girls. They were having lunch somewhere. I was starving. I was hungry. Tina was hungry. We were in a taxi for about 45 minutes to get back to the girls. And it was literally like probably a 10-minute drive. But obviously we couldn't walk around Bangkok, like we didn't know where we were. So we were like, right, we'll go to the markets, like it'll be fine. do you know, it's fine. Tensions were high. I was hangry. I'd no passport. The girls wanted to get their shopping done. You know, tensions were a bit strong. I remember we got to the restaurant and they were just finished eating and I was kind of like, okay, but I'm hungry now. And they were like, yeah, but like we're all going shopping now. And like it was hilarious. Like it was so tense and like everyone was kind of like, this is our, like everyone was hungover, everyone was dreading the journey home, and you know, they also wanted to get some shopping done. So I remember we got to like this shopping center that is basically like all stalls in a shopping center. My battery was on like 2%. Obviously I knew I needed my phone because I knew I had to go back to this like embassy and get my passport and everything. I had to buy a power bank. I went and bought a power bank and I was like to the girls, I was like, look, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna go to the embassy after that, because I was like, if I'm late for this, like, and if I miss it, I'm not getting home, like that's the end of it. And I made my journey back to the embassy because obviously as the day goes on, the traffic in Bangkok gets busier and busier and busier. So I remember I took like the outdoor tuk-tuk to the embassy again. And I got to the embassy at 4 o'clock and I walked in, like it's like this big massive building, like all tiles, like all modern. And I went in, I went up the elevator and I got to like the Irish embassy part because it's all offices. I remember I got there and like all the blinds were down. Like the place looked done for the day, like absolutely shut down. So I like rang the bell thing and like sat on the chair in the waiting area. And I just remember looking at the clock and like the clock was ticking. I was looking at my phone and I was like, this is not happening. Like, this is not happening. Like, where are they? Like, 5 minutes went by, 10 minutes went by, 15 minutes went by. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not good. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to get this passport. I've went to the embassy. I paid all this money. Like, I spent so much money. Like, when you're in Thailand, like, it probably was like €300 at the end of the day to like get all this stuff. So like obviously when you go on holidays like this, you have a certain amount of money budgeted. So it was like my near last €300 was going on this stupid passport. So I thought I was getting a new passport as well, right? So I'd spent all this money and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to fly home. And then I was like, was it even necessary to do this? Like, could I have flew home with that piece of paper that policeman in Koh Samui gave me? I was like, was this a waste of time and money and energy and effort? So I was freaking out, and next thing you know, just like pulled up the blind and was like, Rebecca, and then just like handed me this piece of paper again. It looked like a passport, but it was like just a laminated piece of paper basically with like my photo on it. Oh, also, sorry, left out a bit of a story. I had to get photos done, passport photos for this new passport. So I had my passport, like my mini little passport. That was fine, so got the passport, so I was delighted then. The girls were still in the market and basically ended up going back to the hotel to them, and we went on our merry way to the airport. Got through the Bangkok airport absolutely fine. They again just laughed at me with my piece of paper. And the running joke the whole holiday, the girls like, do you have your passport? Do you have your passport? Do you have your passport? I was like, yes, I have it. They were like, is your bag closed? I was like, yes. So next thing, got to Dubai, and like going through Dubai, they kind of like stopped. They stopped me in Dubai and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck in Dubai. They're not going to let me through. They're not going to believe this is a passport. This is an absolute disaster. What's going to happen? Like, I was actually freaking out. But he called like a supervisor over and I was like, no, I'm actually not getting home. So his supervisor came over and he just rolled his eye, looked to me and let me through. Got home to Ireland anyway, and finally, and I was going through immigration, like when you arrive home, going through security or immigration or one of those things. And I remember the guy behind the desk, like literally was like, oh Jesus. He was like, did it ruin your holiday? Like, do you know when you get home, especially if you're from Ireland, like you have the banter, you know, in the, like the security guys wouldn't be scary in the airport. Like if you're Irish and they're Irish, you're like having the banter. He was like, oh, did it ruin your holiday, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, I'll take that now. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, oh, that's just like an emergency. Like that's just a one trip passport, like you can't use that anymore. And I was like, I spent €300 on this stupid piece of paper for it to last me one trip. Also, bear in mind, the passport that I had lost was a new one. So I was like, so I can't, and he was like, no, we have to apply for a new passport. That was it. That was the big story about the time I went to Thailand and lost my passport. So I mean, if you do lose your passport, just know it's not the end of the world. It will be fixed, but it was just most like, so I think because it's the way it happened, that it was like we were traveling all day on his birthday, and like we just, like, the way it happened was just like, we were like, oh my god, what is going on? I honestly thought I'd be stuck in Thailand. So I hope you enjoyed this story time of the time I was in Thailand and lost my passport. If you have ever lost your passport whilst traveling, please let me know in the comments, just so I know I'm not alone in my stupidity. I've never lost a passport before that, and I've never lost a passport since, thank God. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Again, if you're new here, hello, hi, welcome. My name is Rebecca Short. I have plenty more videos and story times if you want to check those ones out. If you like my vibe, do not forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.